Hello everyone and welcome to my fitness channel. So today I'm going to do a quick Q&A because I think it's the best way for you guys to get to know me a little bit better, and because this channel is quite new, it'll give you more information about what I'm trying to do with the channel. And to be honest, it's quite simple. I just want to help as many people reach their fitness goals as possible, and I feel like fitness YouTube is the best way for me to reach as many people as possible and answer a lot of questions all in one place. Okay, I get asked a lot of questions daily and it's really hard to get back to people individually, so I just think putting loads of content out on here should help answer people's questions and reach a wider audience. So I know it's going to be quite boring me just sat here talking to a camera, so I'm going to try and keep this as short and to the point as I can. But I think I'm going to answer 5 questions which were more about my fitness and related to me, and I'm going to answer 5 more generic fitness questions and give a bit of information out. So question number 1. What first sparked your interest in fitness and how has your why changed over the years? Okay, so I was really sporty growing up, and up until about 15, I was playing county rugby, county cricket, and I was also playing football on and off, and I had trials with quite a few teams. But 15, I got injured, which is a really bad time to get injured because it's also the time in life where you start going out and partying. And I took that to another level. I used to live for the weekends. So I'd go out on a Friday, come home somewhere Sunday night. I was getting into all the things that you shouldn't really do at weekends and just living the party lifestyle. So that all changed when I got Facebook, and I got tagged in a Facebook photo, and to say I was slightly more overweight than I thought I was would be a massive understatement. I was fat. I was really overweight. So what I did, I just realised I couldn't go on like that. I got into the gym with a mate and we started going to some classes. Quickly realised that wasn't for me. I wasn't the classes kind of person, but I did go down into the weights room and pretty much never looked back. So I got most of my information off YouTube, and YouTube at the time in the fitness or bodybuilding world was your Ronnie Coleman's, Jay Cutler, Branch Warren, all these people that I thought one day I was going to look like. So I always wanted to be sort of big and strong. I always liked that look. I think growing up watching Arnold in films probably helped out a lot. And yeah, I followed these guys, and what I hadn't realised was that performance enhancing drugs played quite a big part in how they looked. So I thought I was going to get there. I didn't, but I still trained like them and I still made a huge amount of progress. So I would say that was my biggest kind of influences getting into fitness and bodybuilding. Over the years, my why has changed. I probably do slightly more athletic based stuff now compared to when I first started. So I still love bodybuilding. I did a couple of bodybuilding shows back in 2017 and I've never lost the love for it. But being a dad, I did find it slightly harder to play with my child and get around when I was just aching and sore all the time. So what I do now is probably more power building. So I do quite a heavy lift to start my sessions off, and then I'll do more bodybuilding style after that. And then when I need to, I'll also throw in some sort of more plyo explosive work and some HIIT or some cardio. So that's probably the only real change. But I still go through phases of everything. So I think the thing is I'm 40, and to keep training interesting, I keep mixing it up a little bit. But overall, it's kind of minor adjustments. I just love training. Okay, question number 2. What does a typical day in the life look like for you with your training and nutrition? Okay, so I'm quite a structured person. So for me, I like to train at the same time pretty much every day. So I'll do my 3 or 4 clients in the morning and go straight to the gym. I always find for me, getting training in the earliest possible opportunity has always worked the best, because sometimes if you delay things, you can put it off to the point where it doesn't get done. So I'll train roughly the same time every day, and I now stick to more of a push-pull legs kind of training split. And this is just because life is a bit busier. I'm a dad. Sometimes things change. And the thing is, I used to love training with a bro split and just hitting one body part as hard as I could. And I did get really good results doing that. But if you miss a day, it can throw off your whole week. Whereas with push-pull legs, if you miss a day, you just do whatever you're going to do that day the next day, and then the cycle comes back around again. So you can train 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week if you want to. I think that's probably too much. But it can fit your lifestyle a little bit better. So that's my training structure. Nutrition, it kind of varies depending on whether I'm cutting or bulking. So if I'm cutting, I pretty much like to stick to the same foods as much as possible, because it just takes away any thought process. So I use MyFitnessPal to plan my meals for the day. If that's working for me, I'm pretty good at just sticking to the same food all the time, okay? I know it's not ideal, I know it doesn't work for everyone, people get bored, but it just works for me because I know the end result will be there. If I'm bulking, I'll probably use something like MyFitnessPal a little bit more and vary my meals up because you've got way more kind of give with what you're eating. But even on a cut, I would say the night before, I will always sit on MyFitnessPal, plan what I'm gonna have for the next day, make sure I've got everything in the house and stick to that. So that's kind of how I go with training and nutrition. Number 3, how do you stay disciplined on the days where you have zero motivation to hit the gym? So I think having a plan is so important because if you have a plan and you know you want to progress from the week before, if it's on your plan, you'll go in and do it, okay? Whereas if you're just relying solely on motivation, turning up to the gym, you don't have any real idea what you're doing that day, you can easily kind of skip workouts and then it can become 2-3 days in between. So I think for me, motivation isn't the driving factor. I think discipline is. But I think motivation in getting results, the motivation from that will keep you going in the gym. So I think the discipline will give you the results and the results will help you have motivation. But I don't rely solely on motivation. Question number 4. What is one fitness fail or mistake you made early on that taught you a valuable lesson? Definitely that having some form of control over your nutrition will give you a much better result in the gym. So you can go and train as hard as you want, but if your nutrition doesn't back up your training, it's very hard to get to where you want to get to. So that's one thing I always thought, you can out-train your diet. So just go to the gym, lift heavy, and your body will change. Doesn't really work like that. If I could go back and learn that just tracking my food for 2 or 3 weeks and understanding portion control and how much protein I'm eating would make such a big difference, I would love to have that in from 2009 up until now. I probably learned that in 2017. So 10 years into training, and I loved my training, so it wasn't really a problem, but yeah, that would be the biggest thing. Would it call it a fail? Probably. I probably should have understood more about nutrition from the beginning. Question number 5. What are your current top 3 favorite exercises and why? Can I say bicep curl, and bicep curl? I hate my biceps, to be fair, so that would probably be it for me. I would say dumbbell chest press is my all-time king of exercises. I absolutely love it. I don't know why. I think the gym that I grew up working in for 10 years, we didn't have free weights in there, so we couldn't barbell press. We had a Smith machine and dumbbells. So everything I did pretty much was dumbbell based. And I just always connected with the dumbbell chest press. My chest grew pretty big, so that would definitely be my favorite exercise of all time. Other 2, tough. I do love a front squat, which is odd because I didn't do them for years. But again, that's the exercise for my quads that I probably connect with better than anything. So back squats doesn't really suit me too well. I can do them, but I've never been the most natural back squatter. Front squats, I just seem to connect with and really feel it where I want to feel it. So I'd say front squats is probably up in my top 3. And then it's got to be a curl of some description. I'm going to go preacher curl. So just because biceps are life. So, okay, I'm going to move on now to 5 questions that are just solely fitness based and nothing to do with me. So question number 6, is it better to do cardio before or after weight training for fat loss? It's always better to do your weight training first. You want to train when you have enough energy and glycogen stores to really push hard in the gym, because the training that built the muscle during a gaining phase is also the same training that will keep it during a fat loss phase. So you want to keep pushing as hard as you can and keep your strength up in the gym. And if you do cardio first, you've burnt out a bit of glycogen. You're also going to hit your central nervous system a little bit, and you're going to find it harder to go into heavy lifting after that. So I would always do 5 or 10 minutes of cardio just to warm your body up and get your heart rate up, get everything pumping. Then I would do your weights, and then I would do your cardio, irrelevant whether you're in a fat loss phase or a gaining phase. Question number 7. How do I know if I'm actually hitting progressive overload in my workouts? track your workouts. The biggest thing to remember is progressive overload is not simply just adding more weight to a bar. Progressive overload is achieved by increasing resistance is one of them, but you can increase reps, you can increase sets, or you can lift with better technique or tempo. So as long as you're achieving one of those things week by week, you will get progressive overload. But it's important to track. So when I'm tracking, I may lift the same weight as last week, but I've made a little note that I lifted it better. Okay, it was more controlled. If I do my workout and I don't think that my technique was very good on a certain exercise, I will always put that in my notebook or in my phone, wherever I'm tracking, so that I can stick on the same number and try and improve it. So tracking your workouts is the best way to know whether you're getting progressive overload. Question number 8. What are the most important staple supplements for a beginner, or are they even necessary? No, they're not necessary. The 3 things that you really want to make sure that you are doing correctly are training hard, recovering, and getting your nutrition on point. Get those 3 things right, you can get fantastic results without any supplements at all. There are 2 supplements that I would say are probably 2 that I would recommend to people. One is whey protein, just to get your protein levels up to where they need to be. And number 2 would be creatine, just to get a little bit more power and output. So they are probably the only 2 supplements that are actually proven scientifically to aid you with your training. Other than that, I would say a good quality fish oil if you're not eating oily fish, but as long as you've got oily fish in your diet, they wouldn't be a necessity. So no, you don't need them, but they are the 2 that I would recommend because they can enhance your performance. Question 9. Do I need to feel DOMs in order to build muscle? No. I used to think that the answer was yes. So when I first started training, I would kill myself in the gym. And then if I didn't feel sore for at least like 3 or 4 days afterwards, I'd feel like it was a wasted workout. The truth is, progressive overload is what determines whether you build muscle, okay? It's nice to get a really good pump and to absolutely destroy yourself, but it isn't necessary in order to build muscle. In fact, it's probably a bit of a hindrance, okay? You need to get to a point which is progressing, but you can still recover from before your next session. So delayed onset muscle soreness is kind of a dull ache that you feel in the muscles that you've worked, and it's not a bad thing, but it isn't necessary in order to build muscle, no. Question number 10. Do I really need to eat immediately after a workout, the anabolic window, or is total daily protein more important? Total daily protein and calories are far more important than meal timing. As long as your total daily protein and calories are in the right place, your body will use that efficiently over the course of 24 hours in order to get you your result. So no, meal timing isn't important, but I would say pre and post workout nutrition can aid you a little bit in terms of recovery and what you're going to get out of your session. I wouldn't really want to eat more than 3 or 4 hours after training. Ideally as well, I wouldn't want to train fasted, particularly if I'm trying to build muscle. But you also find personal preference helps with that one as well. So no, there is no such thing as the anabolic window. That is a bit of a myth, but total daily protein and calories are important to get your result. Okay, so that is your 10 questions. So a little introduction to the channel, a little bit more to get to know me, and I'll do another one of these Q&As, which is a bit more training based. If you found this helpful, subscribe and like, and hopefully I'll see you soon.